Why don't we get this over with and move on to the next chapter at last? I have an announcement of sorts to make at the end of this one, so this might be short, it depends. But let's continue quickly. The walls had fallen away. The suffocating cell in which Akechi had found himself not 2 weeks ago had degenerated completely, reverting to an unadorned cage hanging like a chandelier from the Velvet Room's unseen ceiling. Through these bars he had first seen those unsettling twins and the face of Igor. He saw the latter now, looking up at him. He waved one thin-fingered hand. "Welcome back," said Igor. "And hello at last. We finally see each other clearly." "You don't look any different than the other one." "Yes, the usurper's imitation was quite masterful. But it still failed him in the end." Igor spread his hands. "My faith in the tricksters was not misplaced. Nor, it would seem, was my faith in you. Your progress has been astonishing. Already we approach the end game." We're in the end game now, Avengers Endgame style. Akechi gazed around at the blue stone panopticon. Those endless cells in which the shadows thrashed and surged. Now more than ever he felt the weight of their observation. Mindless eyes, without judgment or recrimination. It didn't make him any less uncomfortable. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. "I beg your pardon?" "This. All of this." He spread his arms, encompassing the cage, the cells, Igor himself. "What do you gain from it?" "It is not a matter of gain. The Velvet Room exists for your benefit, not mine. I'll admit that it's been an entertaining performance. But I don't know what your own endgame is supposed to be. Even if this cage breaks, I'll be destined for a less metaphorical one soon enough." He curled his fingers around the bars. "Were you just trying to refine me into a more effective tool for Kurusu's sake? If so, I don't particularly blame you." "No," said Igor. "That is not at all the case." Akechi blinked. Igor's words had been unusually forceful. He began tapping his finger on the desk, his other hand cold beneath his chin. Another tick, Akechi noticed, that Yaldabaoth had imitated well. "In my time as the attendant for the Velvet Room, I have seen no end of would-be gods," said Igor. "They spawn from the twists and the flaws within mankind's soul, without cessation or interruption. A menagerie of horrors seeking to pull their creators to ruin. And yet, that same flawed soul gives birth to such wonders. Your desires burn like a flame. They bring warmth to those around you. They shine like a beacon to those in need of guidance, though they ever threaten to become a conflagration that will consume you all. That delicate balance, another blessed paradox. The Velvet Room was born to nurture that spirit. Those who possess the will to lead humanity away from perdition are invited here, so that we may guide them on a better path. So far, every mad god and conniving demon has fallen to those champions. But the usurper," his voice grew harsher, "he was the first to strike at the Velvet Room directly, to corrupt its purpose and mistreat its attendants, and mislead a guest onto a path that would end only in destruction. For this, I despise him." Akechi recoiled away from the bars. Igor's fists had clenched. Upon speaking that word, his gentle voice had acquired a guttural, cacophonic rumble that sent Akechi's heart rattling in his rib cage. The entire velvet room seemed to bow outward like a boiler about to burst. The shadows all fled to the far ends of their cells, quivering in terror. Death alone is too light a punishment for such an offense. I sense that his influence is not yet banished. His stench yet clings to every brick of this velvet room. I choke on it with every breath. Akechi shrank away from him. The air around Igor had turned alive with vibration, like the inside of a subwoofer. I will not be satisfied until he has been completely purged from this sacred place. Every trace obliterated. Every wrong righted. And that, he said, voice softening at last, includes my own. Akechi crept back to the front of the cage. Igor looked up at him again. His rictus grin attempted to look apologetic. It was my negligence that allowed the usurper to gain entry. His actions, and all consequences thereof, stem from my own failure. That includes your current predicament. He steepled his fingers. So now you see, even in this endeavor, you are not alone. I too am in need of rehabilitation. Does that make me your community service? You may have bitten off more than you can chew. He chuckled. Do you truly believe so? Your growth may have been irregular, but thus far I have nothing but pride in your accomplishments. You scarcely required my guidance at all. Not true. Thanks to you, I realized where Kurusu was being kept. He paused. Can you tell me how he's doing? Alas, no. He left my sight when he ventured into the Sea of Souls. But I have left him in the care of my assistant. So long as his own soul continues to burn, she will not leave his side. Fine. I'll come for him soon enough. We'll end this. And then, he sighed, resting his head against the metal. Whatever happens, can happen. This is not goodbye. The velvet room began to grow indistinct, and your time is not yet at an end. A future remains to be grasped, even for you. Hold on to that hope. Akechi didn't reply to that. And even if he had, there was no guarantee Igor would have heard him. His shape was dissolving into murk as well, the velvet room once again crumbling into the dawn. His head stung in that haze, and he saw it again, that distant light, tauntingly flitting about in the center of his vision. His last memory was reaching out to it, the bars parting like smoke around his fingers. His prison now insubstantial as everything else in the dream. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next time, for the final confrontation is about to begin. Until then, I'm the Masked Ranger saying, keep moving forward, remember the oath, don't forget to keep washing your hands every single day, week, month, year, decade, millennium, century, and all that. And thank you very much for all the support you've given my channel. I love you all. Goodbye. I mean, it's not goodbye. See you later.